scared about it. I was like, I don't want to start the floor show. Like, having to start the floor show.
I am with you.
So I was like, I felt like I was gonna vomit. Like, I was just, and I was so much worse when they first taught me than even like I was capable of. And of course, on the DVD, if you guys watch it, it's the only night I fuck up the choreography. I dropped my feather boa, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row.
You can tell when someone's watching Rocky because you'll get that stuff.
So my least favorite is the fact that when I was in the wheelchair, they would just forget that I'm a human, and if they move the wheelchair too much, it could make me motion sick because I have zero control over what they're doing, and it made me very nauseous. So that was my least favorite part. Question 4 is, what was your costume fitting like?
It was really exciting to be in that costume. I mean, it was really nerve-wracking because my measurements changed a lot during St.clair. Like, I went from being 93 pounds to 150 pounds throughout and everything in between on and off. I was going through really severe weight changes. So I told her I had gained weight, but she didn't ask for my updated measurements. So like the costume, my shorts were like way too small. Like my ass was like hanging out because when I went from 93 pounds to 150, it all entirely went to my buttocks. The poutine butt. Yeah, I'm so glad you remember. Yeah. So it was actually really nerve-wracking. Like I love the costume obviously, but it was like super, super nerve-wracking because like my pants were like as tight as they could possibly be. Also, that corset, like my cleavage is like 8 inches in like. In all the videos we have, it looks like I'm naked because there's so much cleavage. Like, it's like, where were her nipples? But I loved it. I loved the costume.
Okay.
Mine was exciting. Like I loved the underwear and corset bra thing. The floor show too. Like I felt hot. So I really love the underwear. But
Agatha's an amazing costume designer.
She is. The one thing is like, I loved that corset, but I was like, I think it might be a bit too small for me. Like, can you take it out? And she's just like, Kate, like. You don't have any boobs. Like.
Okay, I don't know if I told anyone this story. For my costume fitting, I put on my corset, I put on my tights, and as I'm opening the door to go out and show Agatha, Catherine walks in. Hello. How are you, Catherine? How are you? Question number 5. Hell Week. Your experience with Hell Week and your favorite part of it.
So everyone always talks about how the bad part is that we did three runs in a day. You know what? But it was bad, but like that's only 1.5 Oklahomas. Like in terms of it's a really short show. So to be honest, that's not what was bad. I think everyone forgets. So the reason why we were sick and the reason why we were all it was shitty is because we were having 8-hour rehearsals or even longer than that, and on top of that, you have either like an 1.5-hour bus commute. So
and then you hang out. With your friends.
I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't shower. Like I found time to do all of these things, but there wasn't enough time. It was the commuting was what was killing us. I have a distinct memory. I walked out on stage at the complete wrong time. And I walked out and I was like, oh my god, I'm so fucking sorry. And I just walked out and like, my girl couldn't recover. Like, I nearly gave Ayla a kid concussion. I crashed when they were having sex on into a light. And to be fair, it was mainly a technician's fault, but I mean, I should have just stopped. But I nearly gave,
that casket, man, was not big enough
it was,
for the sex that had to be had. Me and Malin are just like trying to be sexual with each other. And out of nowhere, we just smashed.
I felt really bad.
So I was like, both of our heads, like, we just like, boom, like, into the glass, and we're like, okay. Like, it was okay, though. It was okay.
Me, Devan, and Malin slept on one couch smaller than this.
We did.
It was actually really impressive.
I remember Rocky a lot because there's so much to do with sex, and I was just entering the world of sex at this point. So I remember bus rides at 8 in the morning or at 11 at night. You just get so crazy in your brain that there is no boundaries. Like, people told me their deepest sexual endeavors / fantasies. I learned a lot through my Rocky you would not expect.
Who?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Just the moments where we were all so close as a family. Like, those were my favorite moments of how
we were having pizza. We're all in the back, like, loading up having
pizza party.
I remember just sitting and talking to Melissa, and she's like, I feel so bad for you guys when it comes to the floor show. And I was like, why? Like, you did an amazing job choreographing it. Like, it was awesome with what she had. And she's like, well, I just feel so bad because, like, the music is so triumphant. It's just building and building and building and building and fanfare. And then the curtain rises and 6 fans. But as a collective, I think we have the same favorite Hell Week moment.
Yes.
Which is... It was the end of the night, everyone was
We were
waiting for
tired.
us to be called off.
It's probably like 9:30, almost
delirious.
10.
Like we knew we'd be let go soon, and everyone had just like given up hope. And it was Easter weekend too, so like we were all just sitting there, and
Someone, I know it started with the damn it, can it?
It did
line.
start with
someone
the
had
damn it.
made some stupid mistake in like a line or something like
Yeah,
that.
like, can
and
it.
it turned into this whole like
it
we
evolved
rewrote the show
so
and
rapidly.
it was actually insane and very clever at
It was
times.
so
and some of
amazing.
not clever at times.
Then we talked about your apple pie. Don't taste too nice. And
you
we're
better
like,
can
oh,
it.
because it's a pie canning factory.
Yeah, like pie in a can. Like
And
you open the can, it's a pie.
Dr. Scott was the health inspector.
Frankenfurter owns a canned pie factory. And he started putting humans, like baking humans, into the pies. So
Eddie's ready.
So it's, yeah, Eddie's ready. And it gets a bit Sweeney Todd-ish, actually. And we realize, like, he's cooking people into the pies, and that's why they're so good. And then we all try to kill Frank.
I love pies. Do you hear? But now you eat, and leave no slices for anyone else. We all become cannibals.
It turns into, yeah,
The floor show's
people
about
eat each
embracing eating
other.
people.
Riff and Magenta are trying to open a pastry shop.
I also remember,
How to do I? You see, I make pies.
And the last line is like, and still the yeast
Is rising.
which is amazing. Like, I cracked up
it
so
was
hard.
it was great.
We start the number, and he gets to, your apple pie, like, we both just crack up. Like, he did not say the rest of his line. That was my favorite part. Like, it was
I
just
can
so
still,
funny.
like, it gets caught in my head all the time, started making your pies of man. Now the only thing that makes me full is to eat like a cannibal.
I think my favorite part of that whole situation is that night, Melissa posted a picture of us on stage,
Like, you can see us all
all
being, like,
crowded
so
around
into
my
it.
wheelchair, being like, ha ha ha. And then in the comments, I'm like, oh, if only she knew what we were talking about. And she's like, I did.
The
Your
mics were on.
Favorite or least favorite on stage moment?
We really sat around and talked about like these little tiny things and really made these relationships. Everyone's relationships really strong. And even to the last show, we were finding new things. When I died, I started to cry on stage. I was dead. And at the end of the show, when Kate came back to like touch me one last time, I was like weeping on stage. It was also our last show.
Yeah.
So it's like, I really remember that. We were also deeply fucking connected to each other.
It was the day that they were recording the first time. I started saying my lines, and we had tracks for the show. I started saying my line, and it just didn't happen. What had come out of my mouth was almost the line.
When we wheeled back on, we were 69ing, which like we tried not to tell anyone on stage. So
It
they
was
were all
so
like,
good.
I died. I forgot about that, but I was like literally dying.
During the show run, what was your favorite offstage moment?
Oh man, I have my favorite and my least favorite very distinctly. My favorite is I remember the first time the show ended, standing backstage just holding hands with McGlumbit and just watching those credits roll and being like, this is magical, like it's truly
It was.
magic. We did a meet and greet and we were all running late. And I was actually ready, but Kate wasn't quite ready and
Liv was not
not ready at all.
anywhere close.
So they told me, they're like, you need to run up and tell them to hold the show. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And I ran upstairs. And I was running so fast, I didn't notice that the work lights hadn't been turned on. And I was just running, trying to get to that stage manager to tell them. And the stairs came out quite a bit on that side of the stage, and I fell. Everyone comes over and is like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, we need to hold the show for thing. And I was like, and they're like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine, I just need some ice. And I did not think I was fine. I was 100% sure my ankle was broken. Did the show, and it wasn't until after the show when I took off my shoe. It was huge, and it was black, and I realized, ugh.
Like, looking back, it is funny.
Oh, it's a great
like,
memory. It's just so funny.
Like,
I was
the
so
three of
scared.
us in the change room, like, we're just all like, we can't go on. Like, we're not gonna go on. Like,
What other character in Rocky Horror would you want to play?
I think being Rocky would be really fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like, I've actually thought about, like, all the gender benders that would happen and, like, who would trade with who, like, in a show. Rocky should play Janet and Janet should play Rocky. I don't think I quite have the sexual energy for Magenta.
Are you saying Liv has the sexual energy to do that?
Yes.
Janet was not sexy. She was just like, put it in me. Put it in me.
But honestly, if I could play any role in the show, like not including gender, I would want to play Riff Raff.
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
You're a baker, but you better not try to bake